Hey, I'm talking about Amazing Digital Circus, so spoilers, obviously. Spoilers for the finale, spoilers for probably most of it. And I'm just doing a little review because, well, I really liked it. And there's a lot of stuff that I want to review, more Marvel stuff that I'm more interested in coming out this year, and I should get some more practice under it. So now, spoiler free, no talking about the specifics. How did I find the finale? Short answer, was good. Short answer, I loved it. I loved everything. This is a little too sensual, sorry. I loved everything about this series so much. I think this series, from start to finish, is a masterpiece of character writing. What the fuck? The characters are just incredible. Just from start to finish, the way they're characterized, the way they're not, it is just absolutely chef's kiss. I have a few complaints about the finale, but honestly, it's just, it's not even like with the story itself or with the way they wrote the characters. It is actually peak. It is genuinely peak. If you haven't seen it, I don't know why you'd be watching this, but go watch the whole thing. Hell, if you've seen it, watch the whole thing again. I just finished watching the whole thing again. So now, the finale. You know what it is. I'm only going to talk about my two biggest complaints. One is that it's good. And by that, I mean a lot of the film is spent, a lot of the episode is spent exploring abstraction and like Jax as he is abstracted. And it kind of leads you on to thinking that Jax is going to be saved in a way. I've seen that sentiment from other people. I had that sentiment when watching it in the first place. But understanding, like when on my second watch, I walked in and I had already known that abstraction is a metaphor for death. Sometimes it's more obviously suicide, and sometimes it is just death as a whole. That is how the characters die. And so when I rewatched it, knowing that it wasn't going to happen, I went, "Ooh." As much as I want them to bring Jax back, and I want this to be a huge payoff with finding out how to solve abstractions, you can't. Because if you do that, it destroys this allegory. It destroys everything that they've done up until this point with abstractions and with Jax's character. It would kind of be a disservice, and a disservice to the past like 30 minutes of being in Jax's mind, like the flashbacks, how he views his own psyche, how he views other people, how he views death. It would be a complete disservice to that. And this is where my complaint starts. You can't bring him back because of that, but you kept him in the circus. He didn't go with the rest of them in the aquarium, right? He didn't do that. So what is going on? I don't think I watched it twice. I'm probably gonna watch it because I watched it once, then I watched the whole thing again and like all the whole series again, right? And it is just this why, right? Because I know, like, in the moment before Kane came back, they couldn't do anything with him. They built this place for him to keep him calm because that was all they could do. But at the end of the day, why didn't you put him with the aquarium people if you can't help him? If you can help him and you think you can help him, why are the rest of them in an aquarium for you to look at and not help? Is it because he's closer to the main cast? Maybe, but if that's the case, Ribbit was closer to some of the main cast. Scratch was close to the King. Kinger's wife is abstracted. Why are we putting them in there? And like, I don't understand the separation, right? If you can help them, not just Jax. If you can't help them, you just have Jax sitting in a tent by himself up there, which is fine. We as the audience like not putting him, like not throwing him in the cellar because we like Jax. We like Jax more than we like the rest of them, but I'm sure some of the cast of characters would love to help the other the aquarium ones. I don't get. Okay, I have pretty good media literacy. It's what I do for college and hopefully for a living. I don't understand why Jax is left there. Because I understand why Kane asks if you want help with it, but I don't understand why Jax is left there and no one else is. Maybe I missed something, but And that's highly likely. I mean, I only watched it twice, but I just don't get it. Great. Now, but I think it's peak, right? I think it is peak because the character writing and the stories and the motifs and the allegories, everything that is going up to that, you can't bring Jax back. If you fix his abstraction, at least fix the abstraction within that episode, you kind of ruin it. Maybe in like 5 years they bring Jax back, or 2 years, like the next series or whatever, if there's a next series. The brand manager or whatever said that, oh, there's gonna be more, but I mean, it's pretty much done, so who knows. Now, my only other complaint with this entire thing, and I only have two, that's how good I think this was. I think it was genuinely really, really good. My only other complaint was the Kane sequence. It was very confusing. It was very confusing. It wasn't very clear because, and I've seen this, again, it's something that a lot of people talked about, when and where are things happening, right? Because you start and he's in that he's in the void. Well, why did he end up in the void? Why didn't he just get deleted? They made a very big deal of him being dead. And like dead. I'm not like deep in the fandom or anything. I just watched it as it came out. But he was dead. And I remember seeing images or like Instagram reels and stuff of them going, no, Gooseworks confirmed. He's dead. He's just in the void. I guess that's the recycling bit. They don't really tell you how or why. It's, oh, but somehow he survived. It's like Juggernaut. I do Marvel stuff, so if you don't know who Juggernaut is, it's the big red guy who's like strong. He was banished from another dimension, and his next appearance is he showed back up at Earth out of sheer will, which raw as fuck. He goes hard. He's awesome. But it's kind of like that, in my opinion, where they don't tell you why, it's just he's there. But I like the way the story worked with it, even though I wish that was more clear. I like the way the story worked with it. And then after that, when it's flashing between Kane and the red dot Kane, right? The red dot and not. I was very confused what was happening on my first watch. And on my second watch, and not on my second watch, after my second watch, sorry, on my first watch, very confused. After the first watch, I went, oh, okay, it was a flashback of how he created the circus. I got it. Like, after that sequence played through, I went, oh, that's what that was. Which, first off, that's not how it should be, unless it's that way intentionally, but I don't think that served any greater purpose to do it like that, in my opinion. And the other part was, on the second watch, I realized the whole thing's not a flashback. It's parallels. You're watching two different stories. A flashback, the Kane Red Dot AI is a flashback. Anytime it's the Kane Red Dot, he's doing the exact same sequence of events, but for a very selfish reason, to create these humans, to create them so that way he has something to do, a place to be, people to look over. It's for a very selfish reason. And anytime it's showing us like the fully animated Kane, he's going and connecting to the internet so that way he can learn about these people and show them who they are because he feels bad for keeping their entire lives from them. And then that whole sequence ends when he runs out of internet, and like you see those two parallels, the two stages of his life essentially run parallel to each other. And then when he runs out of internet, snap, bam, he's just in the void again. That's why I thought the whole thing was a flashback, because he's not near a door, he's not near a ledge, he's just bam out in the void again, and he could fly again, and I was confused. But I get it now. At least if that's not what it is, I will be thoroughly blown away. And that was cool. And then he removes the AI. Everything after that, peak. But those two things, I mean, if someone can clear up any of the things that I'm confused about or any of the things that I don't like, please let me know. I am more than willing. I will read all the comments. I answer all comments. I am more than willing to sit here and talk and go, oh, that's what that means. But I didn't get it. Honestly, I liked it. I really thought this was great. I thought this entire show was just a masterpiece of animation and of storytelling and character writing. So because I've seen a lot of people say that they don't like it, and if you can't hook me within the first episode, then it's bad. I shouldn't have to watch several episodes in. I was hooked at the first episode. You just don't like character focused work, and that's fine. That's fine. It just means like movie like 12 Angry Men. You won't like that because there's essentially nothing that happens, right? Unless I have the wrong movie name in my head, but it's nothing that happens essentially. Oh, it's just 12 men talking about the court case. They are angry and they're talking about the court case, but that's all it is, right? And that's fine. It's fine to not like things like that, but it is good. Objectively, it's good. I hate when I don't like things that are objectively good because it makes me feel like a chud. This is not one of those things. I loved it. It was good. I understand why it was good. I know there's a few things that people don't like, or it was too much of this or too little of that. Personally, just as watching it from the outside, seeing like short form content made about it, but nothing else, I thought it was peak. I thought it was absolutely incredible. Up there with, honestly, I'm going to compare this to Gravity Falls real quick. I think it is just as good as Gravity Falls in the sense that it knew what it was, knew what it was trying to do, and knew when and how to end it. After it ended, you can't do anything with that. Like, there's the Gravity Falls comics. But imagine if they made a sequel show of Gravity Falls about the next summer that they went to Gravity Falls. It's not gonna hit. They have to have a really good reason to revisit that world and revisit those two specific characters because they did it. They did everything. It's done. Like, to do more in that world would undoubtedly revert characters and undo the incredible writing and the incredible things that you've already done with them, and that is not good. And so I don't want another season of Gravity Falls, at least not a traditional sequel of Gravity Falls. I want there to be a damn good reason we go back there in an animated or TV show format, because it's gotta be really good and really interesting and not undo anything that's been done. Now with Gravity Falls, I do believe that it's possible that like they can do it. Alex Hirsch will be able to do it. I believe Gooseworks would be able to do it with Amazing Digital Circus, but with how they feel about it, well, I don't really know how they feel about that. I don't know them, but I know how they've talked about it, especially after the movie got leaked. It doesn't seem like they want to revisit this. So if anybody else revisits it, I think it's going to be bad. I think this finale, whether you liked it or not, like there was some weirder moments, Jax abstracting off screen, right? A lot of people talk about how that was bad. That's great. That's peak character writing. Objectively, that is amazing because that is Jax. Zubul says, "Oh, of course to do it when we can't do anything about it." That's Jax. It's Jax to not be on screen when he does it because the way the voice actor did it, he said, "Oh, I wish I would have said some of these things differently as I got scripts for later episodes, as I learned about my character." But the way he did it without knowing gives you this great, as the audience, it is perfect because every single episode, you as the audience feel like you were closer to Jax up until that last one. On that last one, you're gone. You're pushed away. You don't get to see Jax until Pomni and you as the audience go into his psyche. That is the point. It is like he is pushing you away after he pushed away Pomni. He's pushing you as the audience away. At least that's how I read into it. It was peak. It was good. That's exactly what Jax is. That's what Jax should have done. If he abstracted on screen, there was this big deal about it. It wouldn't have been Jax. Or at least, at the very least, if they showed it to us, that could have been fine. But then as the audience, you are not being pushed away from Jax. And that is the point of it. And so it's good. I can argue for that. I think it's a good decision. It's good for the characters and good for the writing. But I don't know. I think it was peak. I think a lot of people agree that it was good. But just testing out new fields. Let me know what you think about it. And about this video, I guess. I'll see ya.